Standings for Hire.
Welcome back to Genius for Hire. I am Matthew Perry. With me tonight, Jamil King, Will Polston. RJ cannot be with us, but we're back for our Week 6 pick'em. We'll start with the standings update. Last week, Week 5, I had the best week. I went 13-3. Jamil went 11-5. Will went 12-4. RJ went 10-6. So as you can tell, the standings have moved a little bit. Now tied for first, Will and RJ. The games RJ led by, I want to say, it would be 2 games, are now gone. Both men are 55-25. In third place, only 1 game back, is Jamil. He's 54-26. And I was once 6 games back. I'm now only 3 games back. I am 52-28. Good week. I'm proud of myself. But we got some islands this week. We got 5 islands. 3 of them are RJ's. So we'll start with the first one, in which RJ selected the Ravens defeating the Los Angeles Chargers, and we'll go to him with that one.
I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Los Angeles Chargers this week. Listen, I understand these last few weeks, Justin Herbert has been putting on an absolute show. The Chargers have looked great. They are firing on all cylinders. So is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson looks better now than he did 2 or 3 years ago whenever it was that he won MVP. This man is starting to become a real passer now and not just a running back that can throw sometimes. This guy is a damn good passer and a damn good runner. He is the most dynamic playmaker in the entire NFL. I think this is going to absolutely be a great game. This being a 1 o'clock game in Baltimore, I'm going to give a slight edge to Baltimore. I think Lamar Jackson is playing as well as anybody in the league, and so is Justin Herbert. So we're going to see a classic there, but I'm going to go with Baltimore to beat them.
Now, Jamil, why did you pick the Chargers for this one?
The Chargers, man, they're riding a really hot train right now. Justin Herbert looks very, very good right now for that team. Their defense, they're making plays. You know, they got a couple playmakers over there led by Derwin James in the secondary. And I think this team's just riding really, really hot. Now the Ravens, they have looked good, especially last week. Lamar Jackson had a ridiculous second half. But I think that the Chargers will be able to use Derwin James like a spy type of role, really keep Lamar Jackson pin in the pocket and make him make plays. I think the Chargers will be able to score a little bit more on this Ravens defense than the Colts, because the Colts had that game won, but they honestly folded in the second half. But I think the Chargers will be able to keep the gas on them and be able to score more to win the game.
Next island of RJ's, the Cleveland Browns. He has defeating the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. Here's RJ with his take on the Browns.
All right, for this one, here's my thinking. I get it. Arizona is the last undefeated team in the league. Kyler Murray might be league MVP if the season ended today. Arizona looks great, and I'm not doubting that. I'm a big Arizona guy. I said I think they're going to win the division this year. I love the way this team is built. They look like a college football team, and I love college football. But the Cleveland Browns, they showed a lot last week against the Chargers. And what they showed is that they can get into shootouts. And I get it, they lost last week, but this team can score. I talked about this defense and how good it was, and it hasn't really shown up yet, but I think football is a game of matchups. And I think the pass rush from Cleveland will be able to get Kyler Murray off of what he wants to do. Now, I look for Kyler Murray to take off running a lot, and that might be tough for Cleveland to stop. But really, the game plan here, Cleveland has the best running back duo in the league, and it's not close. Chunt is the best, and that's Chubb and Hunt for those scoring at home. You can't stop this duo. I think Cleveland has got to lean on that. They've got to hand the ball to Chubb 25 times. I think you have to hand the ball to Kareem 20 times. You have got to play keep away. You run the ball. Run it. Eat up all the clock and score touchdowns and put the pressure on Kyler Murray to where every time he gets the ball, which I would make sure it's not very many times, he's got to score a touchdown. I think you can put pressure on Kyler Murray. I think Cleveland can still pull that upset. I get why everyone's going with Arizona. It's hard for me to go against Arizona. But I think Kevin Stefanski's a smart coach, and I think he understands you give the ball to Chubb, you give the ball to Hunt, you run the clock down, you score touchdowns. You play keep away pretty much. That's what Cleveland's got to do. They're capable of doing it. I think they're going to do it.
Will, of course, the Cardinals are undefeated, but besides that, why did you pick them to defeat the Browns?
I think we learned a lot about the Browns last week because I want to say they are the first team in NFL history to have a no turnover game, score 40 points, and lose. That's nuts. This defense causes a lot of pressure. And I don't know if that speaks more towards, I don't know if that game speaks a little bit more towards the defense of the Browns or if it speaks more towards the offense of the Chargers. I've been riding the Chargers since the prediction videos. I think this is going to be a big year for them. And it continues to be a big year for them. Typically whenever I start riding a team, they start to fall off, but the Chargers seem to get better and better every week. But the Browns in that case, that's a tough game to lose. That's a really tough game, a tough pill to swallow. And the Cardinals, I mean, they're in that division where every single win matters. They're rolling, they're hot. They're off to a great start. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is more of like a coin flip kind of game. I could see where the Browns win this game. I don't mind RJ taking them there. I completely understand. But I still think the Cardinals are just rolling a little too hot and everything seems to be clicking for them.
No matter who wins this game, I do think it will wind up being one of the more exciting games of the week. I have no doubt about that. For RJ's third and final island, he has the Las Vegas Raiders defeating the Denver Broncos. Of course, the Raiders have a lot going on. Jon Gruden now out as head coach of the team. And things are kind of falling apart after a pretty good start to the season. So, RJ, we'll let you explain why you chose the Raiders.
So, again, this is another one where I understand why everybody's picking the Broncos. After the week that the Raiders have had, with all the Jon Gruden stuff, I get it. You wonder, this is a big game for the Raiders. You wonder, is this going to galvanize the team and make everyone come together, or is this team about to fall apart and lose the rest of their games? I don't think Jon Gruden was the reason that this team was playing so well and scoring so many touchdowns offensively. I know they haven't looked as great the past couple weeks. I still think Derek Carr is playing at a pretty high level, and I think we know who's playing quarterback over in Denver. And I won't be picking Teddy Bridgewater. If he even plays, Drew Lock might play. Who knows? I don't know. They both suck. I still think the Raiders are a better team than the Broncos. I get it. They've had an insane week with their coach resigning and all this. What do the Raiders look like when they come out on Sunday? Do they fall apart and look like a train wreck that's been in the media all week? Or do they come together and look like a football team that still cares about winning? I'm going to go with that. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to beat Denver. I don't think I've picked Denver to win a single game this year, and I probably won't do it for obvious reasons. But, I think the Raiders are just a better football team. Distractions aside, when you get in between the lines, best team usually wins. I think the Raiders are absolutely the best team.
Jamil, the Broncos are now kind of in a similar boat, minus losing their head coach, starting the season 3-0, now being 3-2, coming off a loss to the Steelers, who have their own issues, at least offensively. Why did you pick the Broncos?
Honestly, for me, it was a battle of like, which team do I hate the least? Which team do I like more out of the two? That I don't like both teams, to be honest. They both started off hot, but I was skeptical about both hot starts. Obviously, the Raiders have had a multitude of problems now line up this week on top of them falling down to earth after their scorching start. And for the Broncos, I just thought this was a team that was getting catered by their defense. I didn't know if their offense would be able to score enough points. The first few weeks they did because to be honest, they didn't play anybody good. And now they played a couple of decent teams. They've struggled a little bit. They ended up finishing the game against the Steelers decently. But I think they'll be able to get back in the win column this week because for the Raiders, it's going to go one of two ways. They're either going to rise to the occasion and play for each other with everything that happened, or they're going to fall down even more. I just think the Broncos defense is going to be good. Derek Carr's had a rough 2 weeks, and I think it's going to continue to be rough this week for him.
Jamil, we'll move straight into your island because you have one. You are the only one to pick the Minnesota Vikings against the Carolina Panthers.
I am. I don't know what to make of this Vikings team. Preseason and when I did their video for the division, I said this can be a sneaky wild card team because they have players that can play good. It's just whether a secondary show up. And so far this season, Kirk Cousins has been playing pretty solid this season. He's got Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson doing this thing. Dalvin Cook's missed the last 2 games. So they've managed to find ways to win. But this is a tough game. I don't know. Just something tells me they're going to get the job done this week. The Panthers are a good team, but they ended up losing the game last week in the fourth quarter to the Eagles. And I just think the Vikings are going to come in. They're going to show something. I don't think this is going to be a pretty game. This wouldn't be a game I'm going to say I need to watch that this Sunday. But I think the Vikings are going to find a way to do it. And if Dalvin Cook plays, I expect Dalvin Cook to be a big part of this game.
Will, what made you take Carolina?
Man, this is the last game I picked on the schedule. This was such a hard game for me. It's another one of those things to where, Jamil said he kind of feels a little bit misled by the Vikings. And I think the world's been kind of misled by Sam Darnold a little bit. I think we all kind of hopped on the Sam Darnold hype train a little bit too early. Carolina's been looking a little rough, and it doesn't help that McCaffrey's still hurt. And that really puts a damper on the offense. But that defense of the Panthers, I still like a little bit more than a Vikings team that is currently without Dalvin Cook. Could possibly see him back. Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing that great. I'd imagine that he could be playing a lot better. He's got the weapons to do it, but hasn't really been showing up necessarily. The Vikings have been a team that kind of back-to-back years where they've been kind of underperforming. You kind of expect this Vikings team to be performing a little bit better. I'd imagine if they're going to keep this up, Mike Zimmer is going to be on that seat's going to be getting warm, so I like the Panthers to pull it out. I think the Panthers need a redemption game. I think they need to come out and, grab a dub here. I think Sam Darnold needs to find a way to get back into the swing of things. And hopefully this will be a game where somebody like Darnold can capitalize on a couple of mistakes the Vikings made. Plus the Vikings always find a weird way to lose. They're always that one team. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to the Minnesota. So I find this game to be a kind of another toss-up situation. But I just went with Carolina just because Minnesota always finds a way to mess it up.
We'll talk about my island now, and it's interesting looking at it. I was the only one to pick the Seattle Seahawks against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, no Russell Wilson. It's going to be Geno Smith's offense this Sunday, which is, it's questionable. Obviously, you can't trust Geno Smith really, but can you trust Big Ben anymore? I mean, they won last week against the Broncos, but I mean, this season we've seen probably the worst Big Ben yet. I mean, this is probably the lowest point in his career, I think, production wise. And, Juju's hurt he's out for the season. And as much as I'm not a big fan of TikTok Boy, I think he obviously provides value to the offense. So he'll be working on that as he recovers from his surgery. But
from his shoulder, he can't do it with the shoulder anymore. Yeah.
I think a lot of this will decide on if Chris Carson plays, because I believe he's questionable for Sunday. So he's going to definitely be a big part of the offense, because if you have no Wilson and no Carson, I don't know who you really rely on. So I'm kind of taking a chance going with Seattle, but I do think that they'll be able to hold it up. I mean, this game is going to be kind of ugly overall. Like on a healthy day, on a team where on a day where both these teams are healthy, it's a pretty good game. At least in past years, it has been. But I don't know. I don't see it being a super high scoring game necessarily based on what we're working with. But I am going to branch out. I'm trying to make up, I'm still 3 games out. So why not try to distance myself some way, somehow. And I'm going to take the Seahawks. Will, what made you take Pittsburgh?
Geno Smith. That's about it. Russell Wilson's in this game. I'm taking the Seahawks. I mean, I really don't care. I don't care who, dude. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, they could all be out. If it's Russell Wilson, I'm still taking the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense is still nothing to be excited about. It's not the Legion of Boom by any means. And now you're rocking with your backup quarterback, which is going to be tough. The Steelers do what they do. They like to play down to opponents. They've done that historically. They did, for some reason, bad teams they play poor against, great teams they play great against. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm sure 21 points wins this game. Honestly, 17 points might win this game. 17. Honestly, I don't know if Geno's got it in him like that, especially on the road. They're going to be in Pittsburgh. It's going to be weird.
They put up 27 on the Broncos.
Hey,
I think they have a better defense than the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense I rate poorly.
Well, I'm saying I think 17 points could win this game, because I don't think the Seahawks are gonna do anything. Because I think the Seahawks are gonna be kind of dead at offense. You take away your starting running back, you take away your starting quarterback, you're going to have a little bit of growing pains. I mean, I don't blame you for doing it just because the Steelers play down to terrible teams. And I mean, the Seahawks aren't bad. They're still Geno Smith is is a more serviceable backup than a lot of teams have. And he didn't look bad in that game.
He
Whenever
didn't
he
play
was
horrible last week.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it. I really don't. Geno Smith's the kind of backup that could mess around and win this game. So I really don't hate it. And if Chris Carson's is in, that'd really help out. I mean, DK, Tyler Lockett, I mean, they still got the weapons to do it. And Big Ben couldn't make it happen with 3 weapons. Now he's lost one of them. So, I mean, I really don't hate it, but I think the Steelers defense is going to be enough to hold back Seattle.
Yeah, like I said, not going to be the prettiest game, but I agree that 17 points might be able to get the job done. We'll wait and see, but we do have one split before we get into our unanimous picks. Jamil and I teaming up to pick the Miami Dolphins as they take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, RJ and Will are claiming that Trevor Lawrence will get his first win in the NFL. We'll see what happens. But Jamil, speak for me, if you will. Why did we take the Dolphins?
Number one, have you seen the only reason we don't even talk about Urban Meyer anymore is because John Gruden got fired. Had John Gruden not got fired, we'd still all be talking about Urban Meyer. So that's the first thing. Number two, the Jaguars just aren't that good. Now, neither are the Dolphins. Now, I saw the Dolphins up close last week, and they got a couple of players, but they got to change a couple of their things. Number one, this man, Jalen Waddle, needs to start running deep routes. This man is way too fast and way too much of a deep threat to not be used as a guy that can go vertical. They only ran the ball 10 times against us last week, but I think they're going to run the ball a lot more than that against the Jaguars, be more efficient than that. But I think that their defense will be able to make a couple of plays against the Jaguars they couldn't make against the Bucs because, let's face it, Tom Brady had a career day. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's throwing for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns next week. So I think the Dolphins are going to be able to stop Trevor Lawrence enough, and they're going to find a way to score enough points to get this win.
Well, what makes you think the Jaguars will get their first win tonight? Not tonight, Sunday.
T-Law got to win eventually, right? I mean, come on. He's not going to go winless his whole career. And this Miami team has been awful. I mean, this is even a good team defensively that hasn't been able to step up that way. At the end of the day, when you have a piss poor offense and your defense is on the field about 80% of the game, it doesn't really matter. They get worn out no matter how good you are. It's the same situation with the Bears. When your offense can't hold down, no matter how good your defense is, your team's going to play poorly on the second half of the ball, on the other half, because they're out there 75, 80% of the time. I think this is two ugly girls fighting. That's exactly what RJ would say if he was here. It's going to be disgusting. It's not going to be a pretty game by any means. You're not tuning in. This isn't a channel turner. This isn't sure. I mean, I guess it's a quarterback. Well, no, Tua's still out, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not even a rematch of a national championship. So that's not even fun. So yeah, I mean, these are 2 bottom tier teams in the league right now, just because they have absolutely no offenses. And the Jags have absolutely nothing. So it's going to be disgusting, but it's a game that I could see Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence at least started to look a little bit better last week. He's starting to look a little bit more comfortable in the NFL. He sure as hell hasn't caught up to it, but eventually he's got to get that first win. He's got to, dust the shoulders off and get at it. So I think maybe if he gets that first win, you start to see a little bit more competent football play from the Jags. Not saying they're going to go out and win 5-6 games, but you could at least see a little bit better of a game. I think this is a good chance for Trevor to actually show what he can do, and hopefully make something happen here, because both of these teams are just awful.
And I mean, Trevor has guys around him playing well. I mean, James Robinson's still having another good season. He's I think 4th in the NFL right now in rushing yards. So yeah, he's producing. Obviously he's going to win a game eventually, Trevor Lawrence.
You'd think.
It's not it. When does he get the monkey off his back this week? Who knows? We'll watch and find out. Will, of course, thinks he does. We'll see. We'll get to our unanimous picks a little faster, a little more fun. Jamil, Bucks, Eagles. I know it's a tougher one for you.
Yeah, this one's tough.
Why did we take the Bucks?
I'm not going to respect the Eagles because it's a quick turnaround Thursday night game, so anything can happen. But let's be honest, the Bucs just all around have a better roster than the Eagles. Tom Brady's playing out of his mind. The Eagles are scraping wins by, like last week. They scraped that game against the Panthers by the other one. They blew up the Falcons. But will Jalen Hurts be an efficient enough passer against this? Honestly, the secondary is for the picking. So this could be the Jalen Hurts game that he can throw all over somebody. Him and Smith can go off with each other. But will that happen? I don't think it will. I think the Bucs are going to be able to score on the Eagles defense. I think they should be able to win this game by at least a touchdown.
Over or under 350 passing yards for Tom Brady?
I'm gonna go over because I'm pretty sure he's hit that every game.
Really? Dang.
Really? Has he?
He might.
One game I think he didn't hit it.
I wouldn't doubt him.
The Ravens game he didn't hit it. I mean, not Ravens. Rams
He's-
game he didn't hit it,
he's
right?
The
easily-
Rams game he did. The Rams game over 4. He didn't do it against the
Really?
Falcons.
That's surprising.
Well, that's
He
because you're
didn't do
just
it against
running
the
out the
Falcons
clock.
or the Patriots, but the Patriots he had 270 basically.
I only said under just because I figured they'd be running out the clock by half.
350. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
That's
Well,
fair. They could
Ronald
play it
Jones
safe.
hardly plays anymore, so we're passing the ball a lot more now.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Will, I'm glad it's your turn for this NFC North rivalry. Bears and Packers.
I know this is gonna hurt him to say.
Ain't been a rivalry in a while, huh?
Yeah, I mean, both teams coming off wins, but Green Bay has, been superior these last few years. We all went Green Bay. I think the safest pick. Why did we do that?
Hey, once Justin Fields beats a team with a winning record whose coach isn't about to get fired in 24 hours, I'll give him some credit. But right now, a career high of 200 passing yards, a career high, just finally threw his first passing touchdown. I'm still not impressed. Love the kid. Glad he's here. Hopefully it changes the tides whenever Matt Nagy gets the boot this offseason, or maybe by week 8. Who knows? But still, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's still the Green Bay Packers. It's still the Chicago Bears. I don't care if you're in Lambeau. I don't care if you're in Soldier. No, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately for the kid, he's going to kind of get embarrassed by our rivals inside of Chicago. But hopefully the game's a little bit closer than we think. This is just a game for me to just see where the team's at. It's more just because obviously, I don't think we're a wild card team by any means. This needs to be an evaluation. This needs to see who exactly what is the problem and what's not. So I'm excited to see this game just from a fan standpoint, trying to figure out what the hell my team's identity is at this moment. But it's the Packers, so you're going to pull out some random crap anyway. You're going to see plays that you're never going to see again. We're going to try to be pulling out the most random crap to beat the Packers, but I still don't think it's going to work. No, not a chance.
Will, I got a Matt type question for you.
Right.
Under
I was
28
about to ask one.
passes.
Over under 20 pass attempts.
28 for
28?
Because
Oh,
he hasn't
under.
gone over. He hasn't.
Under.
But you're gonna have to throw to beat them.
It's Matt Nagy. It's under. It's
Because he has it last week. He threw 20.
yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, against the Lions, I don't think he hit 28 either. That would be a new
I
career
think he threw
high.
17 or 18.
Yeah,
It was
new
17.
career.
You know, 17.
I'd imagine he's going to surpass 20, but 28. I don't even know if we're going to have the ball that much. I really don't. We got to get Montgomery his own. He's still out.
He's not playing.
Oh my
yeah.
God, we're so screwed. Yeah, okay, I'll give you. You know what? I'll give you over 28. If we see, I'll give you over 28. See him in like the 35s. Let's see it.
Wow, I'll be stunned if he throws 35.
I don't remember the last quarterback I remember seeing 35 passes. Maybe Jay Cutler. Oh my God, that'd be scary as hell. You give that much trust in a rookie quarterback, we'll see exactly what happens. But hopefully he gets that amount of pass attempts because I'd like to see what he can do.
My over-under for this one was going to be over-under 2.5 penalties against Kevin King.
Oh, more. Come on.
You don't know for him to get penalties.
Yeah, that man's gonna actually. You know what? Less. He's gonna be on the he's gonna be on the bench all the time. Yeah,
He's a
because
mess.
because if he's not, he'd be up against.
He can't
Mooney
get a pass interference on a handoff.
He'd be up against Mooney, and Mooney would just like run his shit. Like it would not even be fun.
He is a mess, but it's fun to mess with him.
It's fun for me, but he ain't playing.
Next one, Joey B and the Bengals taking on maybe the best 0-5 team ever, the Detroit Lions.
What does that mean?
Coming up short every single game.
They can't catch a break.
Yeah.
They really
honestly.
can't.
So, of course, knowing they can't catch a break, all four of us went with the Bengals. Jamel, tell us why.
I think it's going to be too much Joe Burrow in that offense. I think they're going to be able to get the passing game going early in this game. I think it's going to lead them to get some points, but I think the Lions are going to be able to score a little bit. I think it's going to be a close game because the Lions, they've been playing teams close, That's what you want to see out of them. You're not expecting to go to the playoffs this season. You obviously want to win some games, but if you're competing with a lot of these teams in close games, that's all you can ask for. And I think they're going to keep competing this week, but I think it's just going to be a little bit too much Bengals.
Over under 7.5 receptions for Jamar Chase.
I'm gonna go under. They spread the ball around a lot. I'm gonna go under 7.5.
Okay, they do have several receiving options, so that would make sense. We'll move to an AFC South matchup. The Houston Texans also still looking for their first win, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, they
won
won week 1.
They won
Oh,
week
right.
1. Tyrod Taylor went crazy.
looking to break their four-game losing streak as they take on the Indianapolis Colts.
That's another team that can't catch a break.
Yeah, we all picked the Colts though, so we're thinking they catch their break this game at least. Will, why did we pick the Colts?
All right. RJ's not here, so I have to do it. You know when we get that sheet every week and you see Houston, you just go across to the left or the right and you just check off that other team. Davis Mills, until Tyrod Taylor's the quarterback again, I'm not giving that team a win. That team will not make anything happen with Davis Mills. Sorry, Davis, I know you're watching, big fan, but not a chance. Come on, the Colts had that second victory in their palms and let it slip away. This Colts team really can't catch a break. I mean, they might be the best 1-4 team of all time, but it's just tough. But the Houston Texans are not a team that's gonna upset you. I harp on it all the time that in-division games are always tougher. Not this one. I think this is a pretty easy one for Indianapolis.
Over under 300 passing yards for Carson Wentz.
They run like crazy. Give me plus 150 on Jonathan Taylor. I might take him on.
I need that.
Now Wentz gave us
a
400 ball last game though. I'll give him his credit.
Yeah, coming off of that, I mean, who knows? But I need that big game from Taylor. He's on my fantasy team.
Love me some Johnny Tay.
I'm in Eckler. Speaking of Eckler,
love Eckler.
Oh, wait, we're not on the Chargers. The Rams. I'm sorry.
Wrong one of those LA teams.
Same city.
Wrong LA team.
Speaking of Austin Eckler, the Rams.
Yeah. Imagine they had the Rams. Imagine he was on the Rams. That'd be crazy.
Oh my God, that'd be nuts.
So the Rams are, I believe, 4-1. The Giants are 1-4. The Rams are a very good football team. The Giants, not so much. Danny Dimes has a concussion. We don't know if he's playing yet.
Probably not.
Saquon Barkley has an ankle sprain.
He ain't playing.
He's not going to
sure
play.
Not playing. His ankle's the size of a brain.
Yeah, that boy ankle like that.
Yeah, but they're used to playing without Saquon Barkley. But it doesn't matter to us. We all picked the Rams anyway. Jamil, why?
The Rams,
for the reasons I just mentioned.
The Rams are very, very good, and the Giants are just not good. I mean, Matthew Stafford's probably going to carve up this defense. Henderson's been running the ball really, really good for him. I didn't think he was going to be the bell cow back that he is for them this season, but he's proved me wrong, and he is. And good for him to get his moment. Memphis running backs continue to keep shoving in the league. It's crazy. But, it's just going to be way too much Rams. Their defense is going to destroy Mike Glennon. If Mike Glennon starts, if Daniel Jones starts, he's going to be in fits by this defense. I don't care if it's a West Coast team going to the East Coast. I think the Rams are going to take care of business in pretty easy fashion against the Giants team that probably shouldn't even have a win. The Saints blew that one away.
This is now Mike Glennon's football team. He's been able to say that for several times in his career. He always finds a way.
You know all about Mike Glennon.
Oh, of course. All of us do in one way, shape, or form. Over under though, 2.5 interceptions for Mike Glennon.
Give me the over.
I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go with 2. I don't think I'll.
You go 2. You think
Give me the over. That defense causes way too much pressure. That secondary is too good. Mike Glennon's so bad. He's honestly not that bad. Honestly, last week, at least at the start, he looked really good. But and Kadarius Toney's gonna have himself a effing career if that's his
he looks ridiculous.
Yeah, that man
crazy.
that man Toney saw so much of a workload from Mike Glennon. Oh my God. If he didn't punch that one dude in the mouth, he probably would have been the top receiver last week. Like he was nuts. He was already top 10 without a touchdown. So if he could have just like not thrown a punch, that would have been fun. Kadarius Toney looked great. And it seemed like all they did with Mike Glennon was just throw like slants and screens, which is, what you're basically going to do with your backup quarterback anyway. Yeah. So, I don't hate it. Whatever works for you guys. But literally we say Danny Dimes and Saquon, but like Sterling Shepard's out, Evan Ingram's out.
Yeah.
Darius Slayton's out. Like 3 of their 5 offensive linemen are out. They're so injury ridden. They've got like 10 or 11 starters on offense, or not that many. Obviously, they have like 6 or 7 offensive starters that are on the injury list, and it's just that ain't good.
Another game. A team that is maybe entering panic mode. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 2-3. Of course, Jay Herbo and the Chargers are in first in that division. They've looked great. But people questioning Mahomes' legitimacy after last week where he seemingly struggled. Of course, the Bills have the number 1 defense right now in football, and they convincingly won 38-20. But Going against the best team in the league is one thing, but Mahomes has not seemingly been the same that he has been in past years this year. They're going against the Washington football team this week, and of course, all four of us took the safe bet and went with the Chiefs. But who did I go to last? All right, Jamel. Will, why did we pick the Chiefs? And are you worried at all about Patrick Mahomes?
Am I worried about Patrick Mahomes? Well, I was about this close from taking Washington. I really was. I really thought about it. I really thought about it, dude. When the Jags and the Chiefs lead in turnovers, Patrick Mahomes is being way too Patrick Mahomes. Like he is doing everything he can to like remain that star. I can do whatever I want. I'm $500 million. You know, all that. He's making the dumbest mistakes I've seen. Like it's not even the fact that like it'd be different if his wide receivers are covered and you just get beat. You know, if a corner beats you one-on-one, you lost. But I mean, dude, some of these throws are awful. Like, and he's just doing all this stupid stuff trying to show off and be Patrick Mahomes, and it's not looking good. I said it last week whenever I took the Bills over the Chiefs. If Patrick Mahomes stood in the pocket and just accepted the fact that he was an NFL quarterback and this wasn't a talent show, he just had to go out there and go play football, the Chiefs would be undefeated. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes, the best arm talent in the league. If Patrick Mahomes plays like Patrick Mahomes can, he should win MVP unanimously every single year. But he's not. This year, he's just, I don't know what it is. He's just going nuts. And so, the Chiefs are starting to scare me a little bit. I don't think they should be in panic mode by any means. The Washington football team has been a team that's been kind of underperforming this year. And that's kind of why I stayed away from it. If Washington was playing up like they had been, I would have taken WFT in a minute. But no, I'll go with the Chiefs in a bounce back game just because, I mean, they need it. They need it bad.
Rather than giving an over-under, Jamil, I want to hear your take on this. You don't seem worried about Mahomes, but
I'm not worried about Mahomes one bit. This dude's still the best quarterback in the league. You know, they lose a couple of games.
Is he though?
Yes, he's the best quarterback.
Is he?
He's still the best quarterback.
I will agree with Jamil. If he just stands in the pocket and plays quarterback, he's the best quarterback in the league.
He's still the best quarterback in the league, and this team's going to bounce back. I think they'll be able to take care of Washington, and I think they're about to run up on a good little win streak. They got Washington, Tennessee, the Giants, the Packers, and the Raiders. I think they can.
I don't know. I mean,
I think they lose that Packer game.
Tennessee and Green Bay are not necessarily easy wins.
Tennessee is not that strong of a team to me right now.
Not right now, but I do still have to give them a little bit of.
If they play Tennessee in 2 weeks and Tennessee doesn't have those receivers back, I don't think they can beat them. But the Chiefs' biggest problem is their defense right now. Their defense is getting gashed by a lot of different players, a lot of different teams. They're going to have to find ways to get some stops. On offense, I think they're going to end up being okay. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to dial it back a little bit. Losing CHE is going to hurt them a little bit as well. But at the end of the day, I think this is a team they've been in the 2 straight Super Bowls. They know how to win. They've been through adversity before. And this is just the first time they started off this slow. And it's different for them, but I think they're going to be okay at the end of the day.
We didn't mention it, and I'm sure RJ will in his island, but special performance from Lamar Jackson last week. Very special, and probably the sole reason they won that game. So,
for sure was the sole reason they won that game.
Props to him. Over 500 total yards between his rushing and passing. Very special stuff. And I think I saw it on Instagram. He, what did they say? He passed the running back allegations or something. Something like that.
Because everybody wanted to make him a running back at the draft.
Yeah. So I think we can officially consider Lamar Jackson part of the QB club if you didn't already. But yeah, very special stuff from him. He's going to wind up testing Mahomes for best quarterback if he keeps doing that. Dallas and New England. Dallas dominant last week over the Giants, but they're the Giants. Trayvon Diggs, I think, is probably the main story of the Cowboys. What he's doing is special. Jamil, let me get your thoughts on this game. I don't think it was that hard of a pick, but let me get your.
No, not for me. It wasn't. I think the Cowboys defense surprisingly is pretty good this season. Diggs has turned to an elite corner. We'll see if he can keep up the interception streak because we'll see if the Patriots even throw enough for him to catch another pick. But they do. I bet some money he would get another one because there's the best receiver is Jacoby Myers. So I think he'll be able to do pretty well against Jacoby Myers. But the Cowboys, they're hot. As much as I hate to say it, they're hot right now. They look really, really good. They're putting up points. They got 40 out of 2 of their last 3 games. They put up over 35 the other game. Their offense is moving very, very good. Dak looks great. Zeke looks good. Pollard looks good. Their whole team looks good right now, as much as I hate to say it. And the Patriots don't. They got lucky. They beat the Texans last week, to be honest. So I think the Cowboys will take care of them pretty handily.
Over under 7.5 receptions for CeeDee Lamb.
I'm gonna go under. This is another team that spreads the ball around, I think, and I
Yeah.
think they're gonna run a lot against the Patriots.
Yep. Amari Cooper's been having some good games, and CeeDee Lamb had a good game last week. I don't remember how many receptions he got. I think it's close to.
He had 4 for 84 and a touchdown.
Only 4. Oh, well then, yeah, he racked up the fantasy points for me. So I'm glad he did that. We'll wrap things up with what I think will be one of the games of the week. Buffalo coming off the big win against the Chiefs. They're taking on the Tennessee Titans. No one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. And of course, all 4 of us unanimously selected the Bills, especially coming off last week. Will, send us home with this one. Why the Bills?
Bills, again, I'm going to say it, best team in the AFC. I'm going to say it, all around best team in the AFC from start to finish on both sides of the ball. They are nuts. This team still is crazy on offense. Like, I really thought this might be another big year for Stephon Diggs, and how much Josh Allen spreads this ball around. The fact that he has 12 passing touchdowns now and only 1 is to Stephon Diggs. That's asinine last year. Dawson Knox has stepped up, has been an absolute stud. If I'm not mistaken, fantasy-wise, the top 5 tight end in the league. I mean, this kid's been absolutely crazy, finally stepping out. Hotty toddy, shout out. But I mean, it's the Bills. It's the Bills. It really is just the Bills. Derrick Henry, he'll get his own. He'll do fine. Yeah. It's the Titans. You know exactly what you're going to do. But until the wide receiver core gets fixed, I mean, what are you going to do? It's really just it's an underperforming defense with a mid-tier quarterback and an outstanding running back. You know what's going to happen. Stop the run, you beat the Titans. And I think they'll do enough to contain them. The Bills, even going on the road, I'm not worried even a little bit.
Over under 20.5 points allowed by the Bills defense.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take that under.
I would only say over just because 21's an easy point to get. I feel like 3 touchdowns is fine. I'd be willing to give them 21.
They gave up 20 last week to the Chiefs, and who's to say Derrick Henry won't rush for 3 touchdowns?
They do also have 2 shutouts this season. Okay, maybe the Bills defense.
The Bills defense number 1 in the league. They're legit.
Built a little different. Like I said, best team in the AFC. You know what? Screw the Titans. Yeah, give me under 20.5.
If we didn't mention your team, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video. Bye weeks: the Falcons, the Saints, the Jets, and the 49ers.
That's a collection of teams.
Yeah, we're only really missing maybe
that's the only
one
reason
or 2 of those
RJ
teams.
saying when you see the Jets, that's why we'll have to do it for the Jets.
I had to do it. Somebody had to,
The bye week's the closest they might get to another victory. So, we'll take that. Those 4 teams, work on your game.
They're taking an L to the bye week. We all know this.
All 4 of those teams have work to do for sure. And so do we. So
by the way, I'm taking the Bills over Titans because the Jets' 1 win is against the Titans.
There you go. There's the connection to wrap it all up and send us home. But for RJ, who you'll see via satellite, I've been and these 2, obviously, Jamil and Will. I've been Matthew Perry, and this has been our Week 6 pick'em. Catch us next week, Week 7. Standings might be different, maybe a new lead dog, who knows? But till then, we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.